If you ever wondered how a watch worked, we're going to take this one apart and I'll explain how it works. Dismantle the watch. This is an E. Howard pocket watch with the minute, hour hand, and the second. All kinds of specialty tools for taking these things apart. This is a special tool to remove the hands. The second hand at 6 o'clock. Organized in this tray. Remove the back of the watch. Usually 2 screws to keep it into the case. Here and here on the outside of the case. Loosen up or remove these 2 screws. These screws removed, we'll be able to remove the case. The movement out, we'll remove the face, and then we have to unpower the watch. To remove a face, there's usually 2 or 3 screws on the side that need to be loosened up. Usually takes a very small screwdriver. Spin them out. Very carefully lift off the face. Screws tightened up against these little posts here. You'll see this little spring here that keeps the face off the movement. This gives the face a little bit of a lift so it's not right on the gears. The first gear is the hour gear. The hour hand actually slips right on top of this gear. Minute hand slips onto what's called a canyon pinion. This gear right here in the middle is the canyon pinion. Canyon pinion is very interesting because it's pressed on just enough, not too tight, not too loose. Like anything in watchmaking, they make a special tool to get this off. You can take it off without the special tool, you just have to be really careful. In this case, I'm just gonna lift it up just a little bit, then I can get a screwdriver and kind of work it off from the bottom. Take my time and work very slowly to lift it off. Good time, because you don't want to bend the shaft underneath it. Here's a close-up view of the canyon pinion. This gear in here is the minute wheel. Minute hand goes on the canyon pinion. The hour hand goes on the hour wheel. Hour wheel connects to the minute wheel. Keep all these subsets together. This watch will start and then stop. Because the spring is completely wound up, if we take this apart with the spring completely loaded up, it'll break a lot of the pieces in the watch. Here is the click spring. If we lift and push the click spring out of the way, the whole watch will just completely unwind, and we don't want to do it fast. Place the movement back into this portion so I can hold on to the stem, release the click spring, and then unwind it very carefully and slowly under control. When I try to wind it, you can see that it kind of moves the click spring just a little bit. I'll pull the click spring a little bit back with the crown, lift it, and then very slowly unwind it. Once everything is unwound, I can just take the click spring and pull it out, and there won't be any tension at all on the movement. Remove the case again. Understanding how a watch works, you've got to understand how the balance wheel works. Remove the balance wheel so we can take a look. This is the most delicate part of the watch. A lot can go wrong if you remove the balance wheel. Practice this on junk movements only. Spring is extremely delicate. It's called a hair spring because it's literally about the size of a hair. It's thicker than a hair, but it reminds you of a hair because it's very thin. You see this little fishtail thing in here? This is called a pallet fork. Balance wheel hits it, it goes tick, and then when it hits the other way, it goes tock. The other end of this pallet fork engages the gears, so it allows it to unwind with its tension 1 click at a time. When we move the pallet fork back and forth, you can see the escapement moving 1 little step at a time. The escapement is connected to the 4th wheel, which is connected to the 3rd wheel, which is connected to the 2nd wheel, which is then connected to this big, huge one called the center wheel. If I touch the center wheel, the power goes all the way into the pallet forks, and you can see that it just hums back and forth. It's important to understand how the balance wheel actually interacts with the pallet fork. Turn the balance wheel over, we see this little stone right here. The little stone is a balance jewel. When the balance wheel moves back and forth, that stone hits the end of the pallet fork and moves the pallet fork back and forth. Hit the pallet fork in one direction, it'll go tick, and then there's energy that throws the balance wheel this direction. Then it swings back and hits the pallet fork again, and it's tock. Tick, tock. When the clock is wound, when you touch the pallet fork, there's tension on it, and the pallet fork actually moves very aggressively, boom, to the other side. This little stone can also be called an impulse jewel. The impulse jewel is thrown into this direction, and the entire balance wheel moves in this direction, and then when it comes back around, the balance jewel hits this point again, and it goes tock over this way, and the motion continues. It goes this way, then when it hits that pallet fork again, there is force being thrown back into the balance wheel, tock, and it goes all the way around, back, forth, tick, tock. The hairspring has to be balanced so the impulse jewel goes back and forth equally so it can impact those forks properly. As the watch releases energy through the escapement, it throws the impulse jewel from side to side to side, keeping that rhythm. I'll move the pallet forks back and forth so you can see the engagement with the escapement. It moves one click at a time. These two little brass pins on either side give everything a boundary so it doesn't go too far. Main spring of the watch is underneath this gear here. A medium-sized screwdriver. If you turn in the direction, you can actually see it goes one click at a time. So we're actually winding it with the click spring. Thread on this is usually a reverse thread. So if you don't know this, you'll snap this thing off. Remove the screw, move the center hub. As it wound a few notches, there was just a little bit of power, but now we can remove the gear. This right here is a spring, so when we move the click spring forward, you can see that there's tension in here. When we wind the clock, it allows the clock to be wound in one direction, and then this little barb here will not allow it to wind back. This next gear is connected to the winding stem, which then translates it to the barrel. The click spring holds all of that tension. This thread is not a reverse thread like this one. Gear removes in the same way. Remove the center hub, the winding gear. When you wind the watch, you wind it here. There's a gear on the side that winds the main gear here, which transfers it to the barrel. Take a closer look at the pallet forks. We'll go ahead and pull these two screws out, which hold the pallet fork in. Everything in here is very delicate. We'll work this bridge off very carefully because we don't want to break any of the delicate parts. And this exposes the pallet fork. Now remove the pallet fork. Inside the pallet fork, there's actually these pallet stones on either side that are set in and calibrated. As the pallet fork moves back and forth, it goes tick, tock. A little fishtail at the back where the impulse jewel hits it, and it goes tick, tock. Now that the pallet fork is not there, if we move the center wheel, you can see the escapement just freely move. There's two bridges that hold these gears into place. There's the bottom one that has the escapement and the fourth wheel. The next bridge that holds a lot of the other gears and other things in Removing this bridge is one thing, but putting it back on and getting everything lined up is a challenge. Remove this bottom bridge. Now we can remove the escapement. This wheel right here, actually on the other side is where the second hand goes. Flip the movement over, you can actually see that little spike that's up right here. See this little spike right here? This is where the second hand goes. Spike protrudes right up through this hole, and the second hand goes on. Because of that little spike that's in there, it's a little difficult to get this gear out, so we may need to take the other bridge off. These little teeny pieces like this can easily be snapped off, and then you're in a pickle. I'll remove the next bridge. We'll expose all the other train gears. Got the rest of the train gears, and this is where the mainspring is held. The section in here is called the keyless works. That allows you to wind it with a stem and not a key. I'll remove the center wheel, second wheel, the third wheel with that little tine for the second hand. I'm straight up with it. We can see that long shaft there that holds the second hand. Move the barrel. This has the mainspring in it. And the keyless works assembly. Pull it apart, it'll look like this. In here can be a lot of dirt and debris that can slow the watch down. And here are those pivots through magnification. With the keyless works, you can click between a couple different modes. Set mode and wind mode. You can see those really delicate small springs in their work. You can now clean everything and then put it back together. If you were wondering how a clock or watch works, hopefully this helped.